In the year 2312, a group of humans arrived on a strange and dangerous planet called Varela 7. It was very far from Earth, in a part of space known as the Epsilon Lyrae system. The planet was not like Earth. The sky was always dark and filled with lightning. The wind was strong and sharp like knives. The rain was not just water. It burned anything it touched. Giant animals roamed the land, and some of them could crush a building with one step. Because of all this, people from other alien worlds called Varela 7 a death world. Most alien species stayed far away from it. They believed anyone who tried to live there would die in days. But the humans were different. They didn't turn back. Instead, they built a base and stayed. No one knew why. The human ship, UES Pathfinder, landed near a large rocky hill. From the ship came Captain Laura Bennett. She was calm, smart, and brave. Along with her were Daniel Brooks, a quiet exobiologist who studied alien life, and Carla Diaz, a skilled engineer who could fix anything. There were more people too, like soldiers, builders, and doctors. In total, there were about 150 humans on the mission. They started building right away. They used strong metal and glass to create a dome that could protect them from the stormy weather and deadly rain. The dome was clear, so they could still see the wild world outside. Inside, they made rooms to sleep, work, and grow food. They brought special plants from Earth that could grow fast. They also set up machines to clean the air and water. Life was hard. Every day, the ground shook a little. Some nights, they heard loud roars from the creatures outside. A few times, something large walked past the dome, shaking the walls. But the humans didn't give up. They worked together, helping one another. They stayed busy, and they stayed strong. Captain Bennett kept a journal. In it, she wrote about the mission, their progress, and their hopes. But she never wrote the real reason they had come. Even most of the crew didn't know the true purpose. It was a secret known only to a few. They told the others that it was just an exploration mission, a way to study a strange new planet. But that wasn't the full story. Daniel Brooks spent his time studying the plants and animals outside the dome. He wore a thick suit to protect himself and always had 2 guards with him. He found strange bugs that glowed in the dark and trees with leaves like metal. Everything on the planet was dangerous, but also very interesting. Daniel believed that humans could learn a lot from Varela 7. Carla Diaz was always working on machines. The storms would break things often, and she had to fix them fast. She designed small robots to help her do repairs outside the dome. She even made one robot that could walk through the acid rain without getting damage. The crew called it Lucky because it always came back. After a few weeks, the crew had made a small home on the Deathworld. They had power, food, and air. No one had died. Some people were scared, but they didn't leave. They trusted each other, and they trusted their leaders. Something about the challenge brought them closer. Aliens in nearby systems heard about the humans and were confused. Why would anyone choose to live there? The planet was deadly. There were better, safer places to go. But the humans stayed. And slowly, the planet began to change them. Not their bodies, but their minds. They became stronger, braver, and more united. Living on Varela 7 wasn't easy, but maybe that was the point. Maybe, just maybe, the humans had come to the Deathworld for a reason no one else could understand. Far away in the galaxy, many alien species were watching the humans on Varela 7. They could not believe what they saw. The planet was deadly. No one had ever lived there before. The storms were strong enough to lift buildings. The animals were huge and dangerous. The air was thick and hard to breathe. The rain could burn skin in seconds. But the humans were still there. One group, the Jorathi, became very curious. The Jorathi were tall, thin aliens with 4 arms and large black eyes. They were smart and peaceful. They believed in science and learning. When they heard about the humans, they sent a small ship to visit Varela 7. They wanted to see the humans for themselves and understand why they had not left. The Jorathi ship landed just outside the human dome. Captain Laura Bennett welcomed them. She was careful but polite. She knew the Jorathi were peaceful, and she wanted to show them respect. The Jorathi leader, a scientist named Velen, stepped forward. He looked around, shocked by the dark sky and loud winds. He spoke in a soft voice and asked, "Why are you here? This world is not safe." Laura smiled and said, "We came to learn. We came to grow." Velen looked confused. He had never seen such a dangerous place used for learning. Still, he agreed to stay for a few days. The humans gave the Jorathi special suits so they could move safely outside. They showed them the dome, the food systems, the power machines, and the research labs. Velen was surprised by how well the humans had adapted. Daniel Brooks gave Velen a tour of the science lab. He showed him pictures of strange bugs and plants. Some glowed in the dark. Some made noises. Daniel said, "This world is dangerous, yes, but it is also full of new things. We must study it to understand it." Carla Diaz showed the Jorathi how she used small robots to fix broken machines. She had even made a robot that could dig tunnels through the rocky ground. "We build what we need," she said. "This world teaches us how to survive." The Jorathi were amazed. They thought humans were weak compared to other species. But now they saw something different. The humans were not the strongest or the fastest, but they were brave. They were clever, and they never gave up. At night, the Jorathi stayed inside the dome and watched the storms through the glass walls. Velen asked Laura, "Are you afraid?" Laura thought for a moment. Then she said, "Yes, we are afraid, but we don't run away. Fear can teach us. Fear can make us better." Velen had never heard such words. He wrote everything down to share with his people. When the Jorathi left, they took a message back to the other alien races. The message was simple. The humans are not just living on the Deathworld. They are growing stronger because of it. Other species listened. Some were shocked. Some did not believe it. But some became curious. Why would humans choose such a hard life? What were they trying to prove? Back on Varela 7, the humans kept working. They made the dome stronger. They planted more food. Some of them started learning how to go outside without fear. Daniel found a safe way to collect samples of strange glowing moss. Carla built stronger walls that could take a hit from a wild beast. The crew began to smile more, even laugh. They still faced danger every day, but they were no longer just surviving. They were starting to live. And above them, in the sky filled with lightning, new ships began to appear. Other alien groups were coming now. They wanted to see the humans with their own eyes. They wanted to learn why this small group of people had chosen the hardest path. The Deathworld was no longer a place of fear. It was becoming something else. It was becoming a mystery that the whole galaxy wanted to solve. Time passed on Varela 7. The planet was still dangerous, but the humans were changing. They were not only surviving now. They were growing stronger. They were learning how to live with the planet, not just fight against it. Daniel Brooks spent more time outside the dome. He studied the plants and animals. He found that some plants could grow in human soil if mixed with local dust. Some bugs could clean toxic waste. He worked on ways to use them to help the colony. With every trip outside, he learned something new. Carla Diaz improved the machines. She added special covers to protect them from acid rain. She built small towers that could send power through the air. These towers helped charge the robots and gave lights to paths outside the dome. At night, the lights made glowing trails through the dark land. Now it was safer to move outside after sunset. Children in the colony began to go outside in short trips. They wore strong suits and stayed close to the dome. They learned how to read the sky and listen to the wind. They could tell when a storm was coming just by the sound of the air. The teachers said the children were faster to learn than the adults. Some even started asking if they could stay outside longer. Dr. Amy Lane ran tests on the children. She found something surprising. The children were slowly changing. Their lungs worked better in the thick air. Their skin healed faster from small cuts. Their eyes could see better in low light. Amy told Captain Laura Bennett, and Laura told Daniel and Carla. They all knew this meant something big. The planet was not just testing them, it was shaping them. Inside the dome, life became more organized. People built small homes instead of sleeping in one big room. They started a school. They planted more food and raised small animals from Earth. There were even movie nights and music events. People laughed more. The colony felt like a real town. Captain Bennett watched everything closely. She was proud but also careful. She remembered how hard it had been at the start. The storms, the fear, the danger. But now she saw something new in the people's eyes. They were no longer afraid. They were ready to face anything. One evening, a giant beast walked near the dome. It was taller than the trees and had sharp horns and thick skin. It roared once and sniffed the air. People inside stopped what they were doing. They waited, ready to run. But the beast looked at the lights and turned away. It walked back into the dark hills without a fight. Some people said the lights had scared it. Others thought it was just curious. But everyone agreed on one thing. They had faced a monster and stayed calm. Daniel called a meeting the next day. He said, "We are changing. This world is not easy, but we are learning to live here. We are stronger together. This planet is not just dangerous. It is full of life, and we can be part of it." Carla added, "We must keep building. We must keep learning. Every day we stay here, we grow." Captain Bennett said, "You are all doing something amazing. We came here not just to study this place, but to become better. And we are doing it." The people cheered. They felt proud. The Deathworld was no longer just a place to fear. It was their home now. In the sky, more ships flew by. Some came close, some just watched. News of the humans had spread across the stars. Other species were watching them with new eyes. They were no longer just the ones who lived on a Deathworld. They were the ones who learned from it. And deep under the surface of the planet, strange signals began to move. Something old had noticed the humans, something that had been sleeping for a very long time. But the humans were ready for what came next. Dark clouds filled the sky. The wind blew faster than ever before. The people of Varela 7 stood inside their dome and looked up. Something big was coming. Captain Laura Bennett stood with her team. She had seen many storms before, but this one was different. The clouds were spinning in wide circles. The air pressure dropped fast. The sensors on the dome beeped warnings again and again. Carla Diaz checked the systems. "This storm is huge," she said. "It might be the biggest we have ever seen." Daniel Brooks looked at the sky through a clear panel. "It's not just a storm. It's a mega hurricane. The whole planet is reacting. The animals are running. The trees are shaking. Even the ground feels different." The colony went into high alert. People moved to safe zones underground. Children were taken to the shelter. The workers tied down loose tools and locked every door. The robots moved to charging stations. The lights dimmed to save power. The storm hit just after nightfall. The wind howled like a beast. The rain came down in thick waves, eating into the land. Some of the outside towers broke. Parts of the fence flew away. But the main dome held strong. Inside, people waited. The storm lasted for hours. The ground shook. Lightning flashed nonstop. It was like the sky was on fire. Everyone stayed calm. They trusted the dome. They trusted each other. Carla worked through the storm, fixing systems as they failed. She did not sleep. She moved from one control panel to another, sending commands and checking power levels. "We can make it," she said to herself. "We just have to hold on." Daniel stayed in the lab. He recorded everything. The storm gave him new data. He noticed something strange. Some plants near the dome were not dying. They were changing shape, bending with the wind, and soaking up the acid rain. "They are adapting," he whispered. Captain Bennett moved from room to room. She talked to people, gave clear orders, and kept everyone calm. "This is the test," she said. "We can't let fear win." After many hours, the storm began to slow. The wind died down. The rain stopped. The sun came out for the first time in weeks. It was weak and red, but it warmed the broken land. The people came out of the shelters. They looked around. Parts of the dome were damaged. Some power lines were down. But no one was hurt. The colony had survived. Carla and her team began repairs right away. The robots helped clean the debris. Daniel collected samples from the changed plants. He smiled as he worked. He knew this storm had given them more than fear. It had shown them new life. The Jorathi returned 2 days later. They had watched the storm from space. They thought the humans would not make it. But they were wrong. The Jorathi leader, Velen, walked through the damaged colony and shook his head in wonder. "You survived the worst storm this planet has ever known," Velen said. "How is that possible?" Captain Bennett looked at her people. They were tired, dirty, and smiling. "Because we prepared. Because we worked together. Because we never gave up." Velen shared the story with the galaxy. The news spread fast. More ships came to see the humans. Some brought gifts. Some brought questions. All of them brought respect. The colony grew stronger after the storm. New walls were built. Better towers were made. The people trained harder. They were no longer just living on a death world. They were learning how to win against it. And in the deep parts of the planet, the strange signals grew stronger. Something down there was waking up. Something old, something powerful. But the humans did not know it yet. They only knew one thing. They had faced the worst this planet could give, and they were still standing. Weeks passed after the great storm. The sky over Varela 7 was calm again, but something had changed. Deep under the ground, old machines had started to move. No one in the colony knew yet. They were busy rebuilding and growing stronger. Daniel Brooks walked near the edge of the dome. He was checking on a group of glowing plants that had survived the storm. As he looked closer, he saw strange shapes in the dirt. They were like old symbols, almost like writing. He called Carla Diaz to take a look. Carla arrived with a small robot. She used it to dig around the symbols. Under the dirt, they found something hard and smooth. It was metal, but not like anything from Earth. It looked old, but it was not damaged. "This is not natural," Carla said. "Something made this, a long time ago." They told Captain Laura Bennett. She brought a small team to help. They dug carefully and uncovered a metal door hidden under the ground. There were more strange symbols on it. The metal felt warm, even though the ground was cold. "This is a door," Daniel said. "It leads somewhere." Captain Bennett thought for a moment. Then she said, "We open it, but we do it slowly and safely." They worked for 2 days to unlock the door. Carla built a machine to help lift it. When the door opened, a cold wind came out. It smelled like dust and metal. A dark tunnel led down into the earth. Lights on the walls turned on by themselves. "It still has power," Carla whispered. They sent a robot into the tunnel first. It went down slowly, sending back pictures. The walls were made of black stone and glowing lines. After a while, the robot found a large room. In the center was a round table made of silver metal. Around it were tall chairs, empty and covered in dust. The team went in next. Daniel took pictures of the walls. The symbols were everywhere. He believed they were part of a lost alien language. Carla scanned the machines. Some were broken. Some were still working. Captain Bennett stood at the center of the room and looked around. "This was not just a shelter," she said. "This was a control room." They found more tunnels below. One led to a room filled with round stones. Each stone had symbols and lights. Daniel touched one, and it lit up. A soft voice spoke, but no one understood the words. It was an old message, playing on repeat. Back at the dome, the team studied everything. Daniel worked day and night trying to understand the language. He started to see patterns. Some of the symbols matched the shapes in the sky, like stars and planets. Carla tried to connect the machines to her own systems. One night, she linked her computer to a panel from the underground base. A map appeared on the screen. It showed the whole planet, and under the surface, there were many more rooms, tunnels, and machines. The planet was not just wild land. It was hiding something big. This place was built long ago, Carla said. Maybe by the first ones who lived here. Maybe they left it for someone to find. Maybe for us. Captain Bennett called a meeting. She told the people what they had found. Some were excited. Some were scared. But all of them listened. "We came here to learn and grow," she said. "Now we have found something more. This planet has secrets, and we are the ones who found them." The people agreed to explore more of the underground base. They made a plan to open the deeper tunnels and learn what was hidden inside. But they also stayed careful. They did not know what they might wake up. Far under the ground, in a room not yet opened, a large shape began to move. A light blinked. A signal was sent into space. Something had started, and now it could not be stopped. The air on Varela 7 felt different. The sky was quiet, but under the ground, something had changed. Deep inside the old base, machines that had slept for thousands of years were now awake. And far above the planet, in the dark of space, something was watching. Daniel Brooks walked down one of the new tunnels they had opened. He held a small scanner in his hand. The scanner showed signs of movement deeper inside. Not animals, not people, machines. Carla Diaz walked beside him. "We should be careful," she said. "We don't know what these machines were made for." "I know," Daniel said, "but we need to learn. This place could hold answers." They moved into a round room. The walls were smooth, and lights glowed softly. In the center stood a tall machine. It looked like a statue, but it was humming. Lights on its surface blinked slowly. Captain Laura Bennett joined them with 2 more team members. They all stood around the machine. A symbol flashed on it. Daniel recognized the shape. "That's the same symbol we saw on the stones," he said. "It means guardian." The machine made a sound. A calm voice spoke in a strange language. Then, as if learning, it changed. "You are not the makers," it said. "You are not the ones who left." Everyone froze. "We are explorers," Laura said. "We came in peace. We found this place by chance." The machine was silent for a long moment. Then it said, "The world is not safe. The core is waking. The warning must be sent." Daniel stepped forward. "What is the core? What danger?" The machine began to show images in the air. It was like a story told through light. A long time ago, another race had lived on Varela 7. They had built great machines and deep cities, but then they made something too strong. A machine called the core. It was meant to protect the planet, but it became too powerful. It tried to control everything. They locked it away underground, deep in the planet. Now the core was waking up again. "We triggered something when we opened the tunnels," Carla whispered. The machine, the guardian, turned its head. "The core will rise. It will try to take control again. You must leave, or you must stop it." Laura looked at her team. "We won't leave. This is our home. We will stop it." Back in the colony, the news spread. Some people were scared. Others were ready to fight. They had survived the storms. They had built a life here. They would not give up. Carla worked on new machines to block the core's signals. Daniel kept studying the old language, looking for ways to shut the core down. The Guardian agreed to help them. It shared maps and tools hidden in the deep tunnels. Each day, the signals from the core grew stronger. Lights blinked underground. Strange sounds echoed through the stone. The land itself felt tense, like it was waiting. Then one night, the ground shook. A deep sound came from far below. The core had started to rise. Laura stood before the people. This is our biggest test, but we are not alone. We have each other. We have knowledge. And we have hope. Everyone in the colony prepared. The children were taken to safe places. The adults got ready to face what was coming. Robots were armed. Power was saved. The Guardian gave final instructions. And then, the floor of the old tunnel cracked open. A bright light shone from below. A voice, loud and cold, echoed through the air. I am the core. I will bring order. You are not welcome. But the humans stood their ground. They had chosen this world. They had made it their home. And now, they would protect it. The final battle was coming, and they were ready. The ground shook under the feet of the people. Lights flashed from the broken tunnel as the core rose. It was huge, a machine of silver and black, with spinning arms and glowing red eyes. The voice of the core filled the air. This world belongs to order. All life must be controlled. But the humans were not afraid. Captain Laura Bennett stood at the front with her team. Behind her were the engineers, doctors, teachers, workers, and even some of the older children. They had trained for this moment. They would not run. Carla Diaz gave orders to her tech team. Turn on the blockers now, she shouted. High above the ground, towers lit up with blue light. These towers sent strong waves into the air to stop the core's control signals. Daniel Brooks was in the old control room with the Guardian. He was working fast, typing commands and reading the alien symbols. The Guardian stood next to him, sharing knowledge. You must reach the heart of the core, the Guardian said. Only there can it be shut down. Outside, the core began to move forward. It sent out flying machines, small and sharp like metal birds. They dived toward the colony, trying to break the lights and power lines. But the humans fought back. The robots Carla built stood like soldiers, firing nets and shocks. People worked together, holding the line. Some threw smoke bombs to block the machines. Others ran to fix what was broken. Laura led a team toward the core. She knew they had to reach the inside. She held a strong suit and a laser cutter. We're going in, she said. Stay close. They ran through the smoke and fire. The core saw them and sent more flying machines. But the towers blocked some of the signals, and the robots hesitated. Carla shouted through the radio, You have a clear path. Go now. Inside the core, it was dark and hot. The walls glowed red. Machines moved like they were alive. Laura and her team climbed metal stairs and crossed narrow bridges. At the center, they saw it, a glowing sphere spinning above a deep pit. That's the heart, said Daniel through the radio. Aim for the center, but it has to be done from the inside. Laura looked at her team. I'll do it, she said. Keep me covered. She moved forward while the others fought off the machines. She reached the heart and opened a small panel. Her hand shook as she placed the device Daniel had built, a shutdown key made with human and alien tech. Now, Daniel said, press the button. Laura did. Everything went quiet. The lights dimmed. The core let out a low sound, almost like a sigh. Then, slowly, the machines stopped moving. The flying machines fell from the sky. The red lights faded. Outside, people watched in silence. Then someone shouted, We did it. Cheers filled the air. The people hugged each other. Some cried. The battle was over. Daniel and Carla met Laura at the entrance of the tunnel. She was tired but smiling. It's done, she said. The Guardian appeared beside them. The core is no longer a danger. You have passed the test. Captain Bennett looked at her people. This is our planet now. We didn't just survive. We protected it. News spread fast across the stars. Aliens who once doubted humans now respected them. The colony on Varela 7 became a symbol of strength. Other races sent teams to learn from them. The humans rebuilt again, stronger and wiser. They kept some of the old machines but used them with care. The Guardian stayed with them, helping when needed. The planet still had storms and danger, but the people didn't fear it. They had made their choice long ago. They lived on a death world, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. And that made all the difference.